This is Trailbusters. You gotta bust out. This month we head out to the Valley of 1,000 Hills and the Nagal Dam surrounds for the Crazy Store 1,000 Hills Trail Challenge. Then it's back to the Western Cape of South Africa where we meet up with Team Merrell Adventure Addicts and find out all about AR and the Merrell Adventure Weekend. Finally, we catch up with Richard Kohler and his Paddle for Smiles initiative. Now we head to KwaZulu-Natal for the inaugural Crazy Store 1,000 Hills Trail Challenge, a race that takes place on the banks of the Nagal Dam. Overnight rains and looming cloud cover had turned the lush hills into muddy obstacles that made the participants a little apprehensive about the running that lay ahead.
Being outdoors, having fun, nothing else to do on the weekends.
I think the wet, muddy conditions are going to make it nice and exciting.
Only mad dogs and Englishmen do this kind of thing in this kind of weather, but we're going to go out and do it, and I hope somebody will come and find me at the end of the trail.
Hopefully not fall down and slip too hard.
Crazy Store sponsors this event because they love seeing people out in the mountains. And we started in Cape Town 8 years ago, and 3 years ago got Magaliesburg going in Joburg. And from about 2 years ago, we started noticing in KZN, we're not necessarily slower and behind the rest of the country, but you guys are doing a lot here already. And we saw that there was an interest in running around in the hills. So we've spent a year putting the routes together, and the reaction today has been an absolute roaring success. We are very happy to say a three-way series works brilliantly for us around the country.
The day featured 3 races of 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers and 35 kilometers in length, catering for all trail enthusiasts of all fitness levels.
It was a great race, really tough. The first 4Ks I almost wanted to head home and call it a day, but after you got over the first big mountain, then yeah, it was great.
While the long course runners circumnavigated the entire dam, runners of the short courses cut across the dam via a tunnel running through the dam wall.
Well, that's great. We normally go down there, and I was first down there, and I showed the guys going through the tunnel, which was quite awesome. Getting on to other side, going up those steps was quite a hard one, but was lovely.
It was a hard day, it was a hard morning, very wet, very muddy, and but thoroughly enjoyable. Had an excellent time out there today.
The Nagal Dam forms part of the Umgeni River system that supplies water to the whole of Durban and Pietermaritzburg. It lies at the base of KZN's version of Table Mountain, and the surrounding area is rich in fauna and flora. Runners who were confident enough to look up while running had a chance of spotting some antelope or even zebra.
it's unkept and it's almost off the beaten track. I suppose you drive past on the N3 so many times you don't even know this place is here. Just getting out here, just being in amongst nature, in amongst the rural areas, just experiencing this. It's beautiful, it's quiet, it's fresh. It's everything that's good about life.
On trial, you have to be always looking where you put your feet, where you run. It's not same like the road race at all.
You can't switch off and just get into the zone.
You can't do that.
You normally don't get tired. You look at the birds, you know, you see some zebras. We saw a few zebras when we were running, and it was just quite amazing to see all those things. You know, it's just take that concentration of trying to concentrate on the race and take your mind to something else.
I quite like the unpredictability of trail running. You never know what to expect. It's always a surprise, and there's always something to test your reflexes and test your skills. And yeah, I don't know. It's a great sense of accomplishment once you're finished, and it's a nice intimate crowd. It's a nice thing to. It's a nice event to do.
Only a 20-minute drive from Durban, the Crazy Store 1000 Hills Trail Challenge is proof that you don't have to go far to enjoy some rugged, beautiful nature. The views from any point of the route were breathtaking, as the low-hanging mist turned the valley into a mystical landscape. The mud and slosh made the ascent even more technical, but added an element of adventure as well. After conquering the hills, racers receive trees, not medals, at the finish line. Trevor explains why this tradition has stuck throughout the Crazy Store runs.
I personally, and I hope this goes on national TV, disagree with handing out medals. They cost about $12 and they're made of cheap, horrible metal substances. and it's an absolute environmental waste. I want to give people a memento that they will enjoy, and something that a tree you can plant in the ground and it will grow and it will be with you as your child for the rest of your life. So it's just a bit of a different take on greening the planet and doing something long lasting, not filling up a drawer with junk.
It was amazing. Some awesome downhill just to start it off, and a nice mountain to go over. But on the whole, it was awesome. Awesome experience.
Quite a challenge in places. Not used to that. We road runners, so it was quite awesome and quite tiring as well.
There's some strong hills there. I enjoyed it, but I was alone there. There's no one was pushing me. But I hope on my training schedule is going very well.
Nice to be able to come and do things out in the open, in the fresh air. Lovely. Andrew does very nice events for us. We're very grateful to him.
As an epic day comes to a close, those with hurting legs find some relief with a hot shower and a massage, and some good eats to warm up cold tummies. It's official. The KZN Trail Bug has bitten, so get crazy and bust the Crazy Store 1000 Hills Trail Challenge in 2013. This is Trail Busters. You gotta bust out. What is AR? Graham Bird and the Adventure Addicts are an experienced adventure racing team. They tell us what adventure racing is all about.
With adventure racing, as in no other sport, you sometimes out there you're almost fighting a war. You could be in the middle of Saigon fighting a war. You go through the same emotions, the same state.
For me, I've got my support and my backup here. You know, I trust in my teammates 100%. I know they've got my back and I've got their back. We have an unbelievable understanding together, the four of us. You know, we understand one another's weaknesses, strengths and what we're all going through.
We've all just got such different characteristics that just gel together and really work under extreme situations and, you know, in what we do, and it just works really, really well.
Every time you experience a new sort of what you thought was a boundary and you actually go past that, you know, there's the physical side, there's the mental side, sleep deprivation. That in itself is a huge test. I always wonder and think, you know, could I have gone another day with no sleep or with 10 minutes sleep? You know, what would have happened?
It's definitely harsh. If it's not the terrain that's affecting us physically, it's the climate. It's cold, rain, sunshine, wind, all in one day. It's all there. Everything's harsh. It's a case of accepting what's going to be throwing at us. We know we're going to come and get cold. We know we're going to shiver and shake. And there's nothing we can do about it. So if we're going to race and moan about it, we're not going to have any fun. We might as well just laugh about it.
Freezing!
Absolutely freezing.
This is real, eh? You know, this is real stuff. Just need a warm-up. This is not us coming off the boat, shivering cold, freezing, not being able to hold anything, you know, acting for the cameras.
I've got to move underneath.
This is real. This is what we are and this is what we do.
Every aspect of adventure racing works through experience. You're comfortable out there because you've spent so many hours, days, weeks, months in those situations before. And that's what gives you the comfort of being out there and not worry about all the variables.
There's times where you sit in the race and you say, "Sheesh, why am I doing this? Why am I pushing myself?" But we keep coming back. You know, you ask us the question, what is the limit? Where is that limit of what you can do? And we've never found that limit yet. And I think that's why we keep coming back. Maybe we're just hungry to find that limit.
As long as you want to do it, you can do it. And that's where the mental aspect really kicks in. You're so physically broken, at some point mental has to kick in just to get you through to that final bit.
Ask any trail runner, any mountain biker, any paddler or whatever, you know, what they ultimately would like to do, and it's probably adventure racing.
You just get everything. that you would otherwise get in life in one little package deal. And you can't say no to such a thing.
It's human nature. We like to look at people and see people suffer and come out at the end of the event, or whatever it might be, come out a better person. And you know, if you're going to put this out in film, and the average person sitting, every one of us has got a bit of athlete in us, or I don't know what, if we're team players, you sit back and you're going to sit back and see that team really struggling and having to dig really deep to get to the top of that mountain, to get to the end of the paddle before the dark zone. And then you see them get there and you see them get to the finish line. You know, you wouldn't be human if you don't get goosebumps and feel that. And to see the people pull through from suffering as hard as they did, shivering and shaking, sleep monsters, falling off bikes, and then getting to the end of the finishing line and crossing their broken, that's what you want to see.
Team Merrell hosted their own adventure weekend at Felix Unit on the Breede River. Here they could share all their AR knowledge and experience with other adventure enthusiasts. Graham Bird explains what went down.
Merrell Adventure Weekend came about probably, I suppose we've been thinking about it as a team for many, many years now. You've got a team of 4 of us and we absolutely love the outdoors and love being outside, and this is what we live for, and we've got an unbelievable passion for it. And I suppose this weekend came about thinking, you know, we want to bring other people in and try and get some of our passion across to those people and show people and share with those people all the experiences that we've had over the 10 or 15 years that we've been racing in all various different outside sports. And that's what it's here for, you know, advertise to everyone, to the trail runners, to mountain bikers, to road cyclists, everyone. Come along and we'll show you what adventure racing is about, and not only adventure racing, we'll show you what general sort of outdoor sports is about, be it navigation, be it trail running, be it mountain biking, be it anything, just basically getting outside, which is, you know, something we live our lives by, and the philosophy that we're very, very passionate about. And that's the whole sort of philosophy and the whole drive behind the camp. In terms of how the camp's been set up, we've, you know, obviously bringing people in, we wanted it to be on a very sort of informal basis, obviously have a little bit of structure to the camp, but also allow people to doing what they want, and also feel very relaxed and not pressurized to be racing flat out. But if you do want to race flat out, then, you know, so be it. We've put a couple of talks together where we're telling people what it's all about, and then we're chatting a little bit about navigation. We did a little night navigational exercise on a Friday night, just to show people what it actually is like to concentrate on a map and try and figure out where you are and try and pick up some points just around the campsite, which was a lot of fun. I think the guys actually realized suddenly what it's about, and you know, after that there were guys who had a lot more sort of questions to ask as to, you know, now they'd been in a map and realized, hey, okay, now let's ask questions about this or that. Again, this morning we did a little bit of a nav exercise, and again, not really on a race basis. We had the team members out there with a map and a compass and actually showing people what it was to navigate and the things you need to take into consideration, be it orientating a map, be it looking at the features, be it actually just concentrating on the map. And that's what we were trying to get across to the people, the simple basic stuff of navigation. We're not here for the major technical parts. That stuff comes with years and years of experience, but if we can just show people the basics of what needs to actually be done. And then again, a couple of informal chats showing everyone sort of what sort of gear that we've used and the experience that we've had with those gears through the years.
Trail busting is not just for the young, but also the young at heart. This was proven at the Adventure Weekend.
It's also been it's a fantastic weekend. As we said, you know, we threw this open to the general public. So we've got people here, we've got 16-year-olds here who are new and going into sport and absolutely loving it, and also here to learn. And then we've got, you know, 65-year-olds who, you know, here also just to get outside and enjoy it.
So it's the whole array of people, and we've got experienced racers here, and we've got non-experienced racers here. We've got wannabes, we've got people who have done racing before. So it's just such a good group of people, and I think everyone's just drawn here with that same passion of let's just get outside.
Merrell Adventure Addicts, along with the OSCAP organisation, have made it their mission to help raise awareness for the plight of rhinos in South Africa.
At the moment we're losing about 400 to 450 rhinos a year in South Africa to rhino poaching, and then obviously the horn's going international, and it's becoming a huge problem, and there's a huge outcry in South Africa at the moment, and a big movement starting to get together to try and get something done, and the government's hopefully going to step in and try and up the anti-poaching and try and put some sort of measures in place to curb it. But it's horrible, and I hate it when sort of wild animals are put in harm's way, and when they've got no choice or they've got no escape, and it's just not a nice side of humanity.
Now we catch up with adventuring paddler Richard Kohler as he explains his Paddle for Smiles journey.
Right, my challenge is to be the first paddler to paddle around South African coastline in a single surf ski kayak without taking breaks, as it were. In other words, I'll go continuously around the place without taking a month off here and a month off there. It's only been done in double kayaks before, so it's quite a challenge doing it on your own. There's no help from mates. I'm trying to raise funds for the Miles for Smiles Foundation, who raise funds for children with facial deformities, hair lips or cleft palates, and to pay for their operational procedures. The biggest challenges, I think, for me was the West Coast, and now that's over. I think now getting around Cape Agulhas and then heading off along to the Wild Coast is going to be the trickiest, a little bit unknown. The average I've been doing so far is about 45 kilometers, and it's very dependent on the weather conditions. When the wind's from behind or there's no wind, I can put in 60, 70, 80 kilometers a day. On headwinds, then I'm only getting 25, 30 k's in. So we started just less than a month ago from the Alexander Bay, and in fact paddled up to the Orange River to the border to make sure we got the whole coastline in. And from there to here so far has been 22 days of paddling, and we'll finish in Ponta d'Oro in Mozambique, and I hope to be done by the end of January. It's all about the children. It's all about getting the funds for these kids. My aim is to have 200 kids operations paid for, and that's the motivation.
Our 10th episode of Trail Busters dusted. Keep on busting your own trails this holiday. And remember to tune in next year for your monthly dose of trail action. This is Trail Busters. You gotta bust out.